Let me welcome you tonight to College of DuPage's 4th Annual Distinguished Awards Ceremony, one of our most enjoyable events. My name is Earl Dowling. I am Vice President for Student Affairs and Institutional Advancement. This simply means I get to open tonight's ceremony. An evening in which we recognize alumni who have distinguished themselves in business, sciences, medicine, and the arts. We are grateful you chose College of DuPage to begin your higher education journey. And we're also grateful for remaining with us. You honor us with your presence. As we know, great colleges, like College of DuPage, are great because of philanthropic generations like those here this evening sustain us so that we can seed this nation with excellence and talent. Joining us this evening are members of the College of DuPage governing body, our Board of Trustees. Please join me in acknowledging Trustee Christine Fenney and Trustee Dan Markwell. Here earlier this evening, but I was told he had to leave early, was a former vice chairman of our Board of Trustees and current state representative, David Olson. I also know 2 former trustees in the audience, former Board of Trustees member Nancy Savoda and former Board of Trustees member Kathy Wessel. In addition to joining us this evening is also College of DuPage Foundation Board of Directors President Sherman Neal. Sherman, yep, there you are, thank you. I'd also like to recognize the Emeritus Board member, Joan Morrissey. A couple of special recognitions, if I may. College of DuPage second president, Dr. Hal McNish, is with us this evening. And if you'll allow me just a personal introduction, I'd like to introduce a tremendous friend to College of DuPage, a strong supporter of hospitality students, Dr. Ernest Gibson. Dr. Gibson, are you? Thank you, sir. I also want to thank members of the College of DuPage family for joining us here this evening as we celebrate this elite group of College of DuPage alumni. We have so much to celebrate at College of DuPage. We serve more veterans than any other community college in Northern Illinois. Over our 50-year history, over 25,000 veterans have walked these halls. Our student-run television station, Courier TV, received 8 Illinois Broadcast Association Student Silver Dome Awards and a sweep of the Best TV Spot category. An estimated 2,500 community members attended College of DuPage's 2nd annual STEMCon, an interactive conference celebrating the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. And lastly, we celebrate that this fall we have nearly 27,000 students who started their own College of DuPage story. Did you know that in addition to 1,500 full and part-time faculty who are engaged with our students, we have over 900 community members giving us their time, energy, and knowledge to serve members of over 60 advisory committees. These 900-plus community members help the college ensure that our students are well prepared for success beyond the walls of College of DuPage. One of these 910 is with us this evening. Hospitality Advisory Committee member Ron Beaumont has dedicated over 30 years of his time, expertise, energy, and knowledge to College of DuPage. According to hospitality professor Mary Beth Leon, Ron has been a guiding force in helping to determine the best strategic direction for our program and the students we serve. Your service as a volunteer has shaped the hospitality program into what it is today. Because of your fine example, countless students have benefited and are now successful members of the growing worldwide hospitality family. May I ask you and Professor Leon to come to the stage for a minute, please?
This is for you.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Should we read it?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you very much. They got my name spelt right. In grateful recognition for your 30 years of dedication and outstanding service to the College of DuPage Culinary and Hospitality Advisory Committee. Thank you very, very much, all of you. It's been a pleasure. I also have to add that, hopefully Roy doesn't add that, my 3 sons attended COD. They weren't forced in here. They came, they were able to walk here, and they're all doing well in life today. I'm very proud of them. Thank you.
Doing well indeed may be an understatement, Ron, because Roy is on our stage tonight. Also a hospitality professional at College of DuPage, Roy directly benefited from the perspective his father and his father's advisory committee volunteers provided. And he has gone on to achieve greatness in the hospitality industry himself. This full circle, multi-generational take a breath. I'm going to blame it on staff. Engagement is the essence of community and what makes College of DuPage so special. It is also what part we celebrate this evening. Now, I would like to invite the president of College of DuPage, Dr. Anne Rondeau, to the podium. In 2012, Dr. Rondeau retired from the United States Navy as a 3-star admiral, the second woman to have achieved this rank. She is also past president of the National Defense University, a consortium of 5 colleges and 9 research centers in Washington, D.C., and has served as a partner and later as an independent consultant with IBM Watson Group. During her tenure at College of DuPage, Dr. Rondeau is leading us in exciting new directions. New initiatives that include Innovation DuPage, a business incubator and accelerator at College of DuPage that will stimulate regional growth, job growth. Guided Pathways, a proven educational approach that will help students as they work towards their academic goals. Techcetera, an on-campus art gallery that showcases the creative works of students in disciplines that fall outside the traditional arts field. And International Hall, a gathering space on campus that celebrates the diversity and the diverse backgrounds and cultures of our students. Under Dr. Rondeau's leadership, we are building on the excellence in teaching and learning that distinguishes College of DuPage, and we are excited to see how far we can go. Join me in welcoming the 6th president of College of DuPage, Dr. Anne Rondeau.
full-scale, multi-generational. Was that right? Full-scale, multi-generational. Welcome to that theater this evening. This is an evening about stories, but the stories of various generations of families who have come to the College of DuPage. But the stories about somebody who came from the military or from high school to the college and then went on to do other things. The stories about parents who advised their sons or their daughters to come here and not even knowing what would come next. There's the stories about the faculty who hung on to a new learner and sparked in him or her remarkable enthusiasm for learning. The stories about students themselves helping each other to achieve great things. The stories about all of them about helping people to learn how to lead and be leaders. So we have on the stage this evening distinguished alumni. They are the faces of every single person who's walked in our doors and walked out in a better way as they came to the College of DuPage. They're the faces of people who choose to succeed in all kinds of ways. And we find the privilege and the honor of this event is to say these are distinguished graduates who have distinguished not only themselves, but honored the college with what they have done, as much about who they are as what they've done. So this evening is about stories. It's about stories of all of you, too. Everybody who is here in some way has made a commitment to this college and in most ways to these people who are on the stage this evening. And you've made a commitment, so this is about your story too. So as you see their faces, as you hear their stories, as you hear the stories of others, think about the story that you have in response. Yes, I did teach. Yes, I did have an administrative role. Yes, I did in some way touch. Yes, they were part of my family. Because everybody here had somebody else to depend upon. Everybody on this stage depended upon others to inspire them, to encourage them, to coach them, and to make them better. So on the stage tonight, we will have the great honor and privilege of hearing the stories about success and about their abilities to contribute to the world and to society in a stronger and better way. But they should also be looking at you as they look at you, to have a sense of gratitude and obligation that you also invested in them, and so therefore they can be more successful. This is the heart of the college. This is the mind of the college. But this, you will hear, will be the story of the College of DuPage.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all?
I'm Amelia Barrett,
I'm Chris Thielman.
and we represent the committee.
Lollipop Kids. No. Sorry. I am faculty member in the Culinary and Hospitality Department here at the college.
And I'm faculty in the theater. So, without ado, today our distinguished alumni spent the afternoon reconnecting on campus and engaging with students. And tonight was designed to celebrate and honor their outstanding achievements. Before we continue, we'd like to ask the former distinguished alumni here, please stand to be recognized by your accomplishments. We have some former distinguished, There we are.
There.
Chris and I, along with 9 faculty members, staff, and retirees representing all areas of the college, were invited to participate on a committee to honor and recognize our alumni. Will the individuals who served on the Distinguished Alumni Awards Selection Committee please stand and be recognized?
Over 45 nominations were received and put through a rigorous selection process. The individuals who sit before you this evening represent an elite group with a wide array of personal and professional accomplishments that span the decades. We are thrilled to honor and recognize each alumni and are so pleased that their friends, family, and mentors were able to join us this evening. Tonight's honorees will be introduced by a brief video, and then they will have the opportunity to share with all of us the impact COD made in their life. So without further ado, we would like to present the Distinguished Alumni Class of 2017.
Dr. Patrick Cullinan. Patrick lives by the creed, if something is worth doing, it is worth doing the best of your ability. For starters, Cullinan took classes at COD for a year, and in that time completed 2 years worth of credits. The former Marine went to finish 2 bachelor's degrees with cum laude honors at the University of Illinois and doctorate in osteopathy at Midwestern University. He specialized in not 1, but 3 medical areas, yet still looks back on his learning and experiences at the College of DuPage as setting the gold standard for all his endeavors.
I'm not sure anything would have stopped Patrick from becoming a very successful person.
At an early age, we could see that whatever he participated in, he always did it in a way that he would maximize his success. He's a very strongly driven, high-achieving mentality.
Patrick had gone out of high school right into the Marines, served for 4 years, accumulated 70 hours of credit at 2 different universities while he was in the Marines, and had planned to transfer to the University of Illinois right upon leaving the Marines. Unfortunately, U of I felt he was short some credits, so he used College of DuPage as his source.
He once told me that in all of the college that he received, his best instructors were here.
I recall having Patrick as a type of student in my class that came in prepared, energized, wanting to ask questions at the 2nd and 3rd tier, maybe staying after class and discussing a little further something we had done in class. An instructor loves to have 1, 2, 3 of those types of students in any class because they happen to be the dynamic that lifts the whole class upward.
Out of all the doctors that I have trained, which and graduated about 250 or so, Patrick just stands out as one that wanted to always do his very best to become a great emergency medicine physician. He was meticulous, conscientious. He always pushed to do better and get other people to do better and do things for the training program to make it better.
He links the College of DuPage as one of the key places that helped thrust him forward in his whole professional life. He now refers to his undergraduate learning at College of DuPage as the best experience he'd had in college outside of medical school.
Through the course of all of the years that my son has been a participant in whatever event that he is engaged in, Marine Corps, then he came back, came to COD, then he went on to U of I, graduated with honors, then he went to med school, graduated number 2, and then 5 years in his residency. Out of 72 residents, he was number 1. So I've been given opportunity to be very proud of him on numerous occasions, and this is just one more that I can add to the list.
From the class of 1993, please welcome Dr. Patrick C. Cullinan, a 2017 Distinguished Alum.
Don't get nervous, it's not that long. It's double-spaced. So first off, I come here with so much gratitude and humility. We had a chance to talk earlier today as a panel, and I actually am not sure how I got up on the stage with these other 6, so I want to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of your class. I'm going to just make a few comments. I promise it won't go very long, but I do want to first start off with an applause for you. Everybody up here is here because of you and what you gave us. So I'd like to just take a moment to give you recognition. I want to say thank you to the College of DuPage. I grew up in Lombard. I knew about College of DuPage from a young age. And its values, what it stands for in the community, turned out to be very parallel and complementary to my own, which I didn't realize when I was growing up. It's a small junior college. I call it small because I kept thinking of the big universities. And so I'd just like to say thank you to the College of DuPage, the professors, specifically Dr. Dwayne Ross, who really made a huge impact on me coming out of the Marine Corps. And of course, the faculty and the staff. I could say nothing but great things. So let me move in and we'll keep this moving along. With gratitude and humility, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you to the veterans. It's Veterans, we're getting close to Veterans Day. If I could please have the veterans stand. When I was in the Marine Corps, I thought if you were not a Marine, you were not my equal. That's the mentality, right? But when you get out, you realize the sacrifice that all of the veterans, the military, offer to their families, the time away, the low pay, the bad jobs, and the risk. And I am grateful for the sacrifices that they have made, and so I think it's important that we recognize them. I'd like my family to stand. Mom, Dad, Louise, family, thank you. It is truly the families that are the backbone to our successes, and I could not be here without them. If I could have my friends that have taken the time to come. I have baseball coaches. I have friends. Please stand up. Yeah, come on. There you go. Okay. I saw some of those pictures that were there that I wasn't expecting, and they knew me when, and they still are here tonight. So thank you. Okay. So I'm going to give a mini skirt address. It'll be long enough to cover the essentials, short enough to keep your interest. I'm going to move through this. Part of the reason that COD struck me was because our values were very much the same in much of what I learned. I'm going to just highlight a few items that I think have guided and directed me, but a lot of it came because of being here. I lived my life, but I was only given that life by my family and my friends who walked beside me. Many times they stood behind me and pushed me. They guided me, they supported me, especially when I screwed up. And I'm sure that you as families did the same for them. And so that's the number one thing I want to say that I'm thankful for. The foundation to success has to be solid. And it is the friends and the family that we keep around us that allow us to build until we reach a pinnacle that others view as high. But the truth is, it's the foundation that holds us. Money does not define us. It's the process of getting there. It's the important things in life. Money may follow, but that's not what defines who we are. It's our character. Dream big. Even if you miss the stars, you'll land on the moon. I think COD started small and kept dreaming bigger and bigger. And when I walked around today, I saw the campus and how much it had grown. And it is that dreaming big that keeps us growing. Risk. Take it. You got to take the risk, otherwise there is no major reward. When they're expanding this campus, they don't know whether they're going to fill this school or not, but they took the risk. When I think about the programs that they opened, that was risk, and the risk is paying off. You can't be afraid of that risk or to leave home. There's great adventure out there, and it is the leaving home that, one, makes you value where you came from, but two, gives you the opportunities that you would never have. Not every challenge, promotion, or opportunity is worthy of your time. That was something that took me a long time to learn. It's only in the last couple of years I feel like I've created better balance, because I'm starting to realize that we can spend our energy, our time on a lot of things that are not worthy of it. And the important things, friends and family, are. and too many times we sacrifice from them. Even though we are always looking at the destination, it's really the journey that we look back on and appreciate. Many times we get someplace and we go, it's not what I thought it was going to be. But the journey is what we remember. And I'm very thankful for the journey that took me through COD to get me other places. Never give up. Even when you think that you can't make it, you never quit. I'm going to tell just a quick story. I went out hiking with my wife, 9-year-old, 7-year-old, and 4-year-old. I ended up carrying my 4-year-old on my back. It was a 6-mile hike. And there was this hill about mile 5, and we're going up, and it kind of winded, and my wife is angry. She's angry at me. She's angry at everybody. And my 7-year-old was frustrated too. He was tired, pouting, and there was a bench, and my wife says, we're just going to sit down. You go ahead and go to the top where this wooden tower was. And I stopped, and I didn't say anything, and I gave her a chance to catch her breath, which many times we have to do. And I said to her, do you think you can make it? And she goes, that's fine, let's do it. And we go up, and we get up there, and it was only like another 300, 400 yards, but you couldn't see the finish line. And when we got there, she goes, oh, I didn't know how close it was. That's right. You don't always know how close you are to the finish line if you quit. So sometimes when it looks like you can't quite make it, keep pushing. Surround yourself with the items, the people, the things that fill your heart, that complete you, that make you happy. Because we all need times to regenerate ourselves, to recharge. And when you're surrounded by those items, it gives you an opportunity to do that and to reflect back on where you've been, where you're going, who you're with, and whether you're actually on the right path. This is it. In closing, I have one word that I believe defines my thought process. I have it hanging up on the wall in my office. Persistence. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Calvin Coolidge. I think those are really strong words to live by. I want to say thank you again for allowing me to be here, to recognize me for what's been accomplished, but more importantly, for just letting me be a part of this. Thank you.
Christopher Kriz. Is that a great name, Roy? I love that. Christopher Kriz. Award-winning composer and theatrical sound designer, Christopher Kriz hasn't missed designing a COD production of A Christmas Carol since he first designed the show as a student. He returns to the college as often as possible to design for Buffalo Theater Ensemble and college theater productions, to compose for the chamber singers or lecture to students because he wants to give back. Kriz has been designing professionally for 25 years with nearly 400 productions to his credit so far.
Chris Kriz has really made his mark among people who design sound and compose for theater in the Chicago area. And it's rare that we have the kind of student here who has made as big a splash as Chris has.
He is one of the hardest working people I know. I know many people consider him to be one of the most in-demand sound designers in Chicago.
I think the theater community in Chicago has clearly embraced Chris as a wonderful professional colleague. He's won Joseph Jefferson Awards, and at one point when I talked to him, he said that he was designing somewhere between 40 and 50 shows a year, which is almost unthinkable that anyone is that creative and also has enough time to do that. It's not unusual to walk into a play and when you look under sound design or composed music, you find Chris Kriz's name. Of course, the easiest place to hear Chris's music with theater has always been College of DuPage. Chris was in my college chamber singers, the select student choir, But more than that, he took such a strong interest and curiosity in everything that he possibly could. So he was the one who was coming to concerts. He was the one who was singing in the chamber singers, and he was the one who was going to theatrical productions. And of course, in the music theory classroom, he was learning about the nuts and bolts of how music was put together.
His first design actually was on a college theater production that I did. We were doing a production of Midsummer Night's Dream, and I wanted it to be very audience interactive. And I knew he was a music student, but I didn't know he was interested in sound design. And we started talking through the script, and I said, "Do you want to design this?" And he said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, I think this would be a really good thing."
He wrote 2 pieces for the chamber singers while he was a student here. And while that's happened in a few other cases, he wrote at such a high level at that stage. It was pretty amazing to see. So we performed those pieces, we premiered them, and then another choral piece sometime after he left. He was a unique combination of being gifted, of having an immense curiosity, and of realizing that here at this place, he had the opportunity to take all that in and turn it into something else.
He has always been extremely generous about coming back and talking to students, doing workshops. Every 2 years he has come back to design A Christmas Carol, which was one of his first designs.
And when he's come to talk with students, he's always presented the kind of information in the kind of way that I think they found approachable. And what that's done is it's given them some insights into what life after College of DuPage might be like.
From the class of 1992, please welcome Christopher Kriz, a 2017 Distinguished Alum.
Earlier this afternoon, we had a roundtable discussion with some music and theater students, and Lee Kesselman, who you just heard, referred to me as a sponge when I was his student, and that, I think, is pretty accurate. But the best part of that was that there was so much here to absorb. My own personal experience here was unique, but the thing that made it so wonderful is that there were so many opportunities to hear and to engage with all kinds of different music and performances through the professional ensembles that were in residence here. Lee's New Classic Singers, I got to work on premiere works by composers from all over the world, actually, and working with Buffalo Theater Ensemble with Connie Kennedy Howard, the Jazz Ensemble directed by Tom Tallman. These are just a few of the things that I experienced almost every day. It afforded me the luxury of experience that I couldn't get anywhere else. And to have that kind of experience is something that I will truly always be grateful for. I have had so many wonderful relationships that I have built here. People that were at first my teachers and mentors and now remain friends. I have to point out the name of Richard Holgate, who is the technical director here for the Art Center for many, many years. He was just an extraordinary presence in my life, and I worked with him daily for quite a few years, and he was just the best father figure that I think anyone could ever dream of, and he shaped my political outlook, my sense of humor, and offered the most sage advice that I think I've ever received in my life. Lee Kesselman, the director of the Chamber Singers, my first music professor, and someone whose influence I carry with me every day. he made the exploration of music a joy, and that's a spirit that I carry with me every day. Tom Tallman, director of the Jazz Ensemble, I'm not even sure if you realize how much you've influenced me. You've shown me how to be someone who understands the importance of doing your homework and not sucking. In every sense, that's true. And lastly, Connie Kennedy Howard, who I first worked with on A Midsummer Night's Dream, as you saw in 1991. And now I'm pleased to say that I'm joining the ranks of Buffalo Theater Ensemble as an ensemble member after all these years, and I'm really excited about it. She took a chance on me, really, on that first show, and it opened up an avenue for me that I didn't even know was there. I was on a path to be a music composition student, and doing that one show with Connie just opened up this whole world for me, and it's a world that I continue to thrive on, and it's my life right now. It's how I make my living, and I wouldn't change a thing about how I got here from there. And I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Peach Carr. One of Peach's favorite speaking topics is second chances, something the Chicago fashion designer and mentor knows a lot about. Best known for her appearances on the hit series Project Runway, Carr began her fashion career at age 50 when she started her own company, Peach Carr Designs, producing clothing and handbags made in Chicago and employing women who are sole earners for their families.
I've known Peach since, well, she was just out of high school, a talent then, and we were with each other in Wheaton drama. We worked on shows together, and I have to say that Peach was always just really a fireball even then.
I met Peach in 1979. Back then we called her Sheila Ensweiler, and we were on the speech team together starting in the fall of 1978, and it concluded with the national tournament in 1979. She was just very focused and disciplined, and she always showed up on time, and she took things very seriously. It was good for me to be a part of a team where people were a little bit more lighthearted, and certainly she brought out a lot of a lighter side in me than I think I would have had without her presence there, so I really owe her a lot for that.
Peach studied at College of DuPage in the radiology department. And after graduating from here, she went and worked as a radiologist for quite a few years. But I believe at the back of her mind, she really was thinking about how much she loved to sew and design and love fabric. And so a career change was in her future, and she made a very successful career change, moving into fashion design. Peach is fun. She has a fun personality. She's very approachable. She's lively, and I think that's what made her a success on Project Runway. Peach Carr has been on the Fashion Studies Advisory Board for several years. She helps us plan our new curriculums, and she will tell us what she wants to see out of fashion design students. Her perspective is different than other fashion design companies, so it was very good to hear what she thinks we should be doing in the classroom.
And she wants to pay back, and she's tried to do that. She loves working with students. She's come back to the college, and watching her relate to students is really heartwarming.
She has also helped our students in a classroom setting do pattern making, sewing, and illustration. I've been teaching for almost 40 years. I've never had a volunteer come in and do anything close to that.
From the class of 1980, please welcome Peach Carr, a 2017 Distinguished Alum.
Kind of makes you want to hitch up your tights a little bit. Again, we're all getting up here saying I feel like a load. I make clothes. Look what they're doing. Little story. I went to grade school in Winfield. Nobody grew up in Winfield. I did. And I loved every minute of school until 5th grade. And 5th grade, my bully moved into town. Man, she was good. She was good. She got on the back of my neck and chewed there for 4 years. And with that came a hair loss that I can't even tell you. Donald Trump has more hair than I had by the time I graduated from 8th grade. And I could do a comb over for him, we'd be good. But with that hair loss came the self-esteem and the peace of your soul. And, she did a good job chipping away. So I went to high school at St. Francis. I had a great high school career, great grades, built an amazing resume. But the thing that as my hair grew back, the piece that did not grow back was my soul and my self-esteem. That takes a lot longer. So I went to the guidance counselor and I said, I got nothing. I didn't feel like I deserved a 4-year degree. I was so terrified to even move forward, and I just didn't think I deserved it. So at that time, College of DuPage had a carousel that had all the pamphlets in it. So he said, what do you want to do? I said, well, spin the carousel. So we spun the carousel, and I closed my eyes. This is true story. And I stuck my finger in it and hit the rad tech program. I said, awesome, I'll do that for 2 years. That'll be good. So I came and signed up, and this was 1978. I can't lie about my age on Project Runway. My age was this big. It would say April 21, Peach 50. So there's no lying about, any of that, and why should I bother? So it was 1978, and I remember just thinking, Merchant Marines, get in, do your job, get out. You'll get a job, you'll be fine. I had, it's fine. And I looked at my life as, it's fine. So back then, College of DuPage was a big brown box. We talked about this with the president. Big brown box, and there was a parking lot that was not paved, it was gravel, and a sidewalk. So I kind of stood in front of the big brown box and went, just go in and see what happens. And I remember being scared and nervous and kind of feeling like a failure that I had all this potential and I didn't use it. So I walked into the brown box and I found the Rad Tech program to be one of the most amazing things that existed. It was fun. It was challenging. I'm an anatomy and physiology nerd and a science nerd, and I loved every second of it. One of my professors was Mike Drafke, and he was funny, sarcastic. Back then, you used to be able to take call during your internship hours, and because I was poor, I always took the call. So midnight to 7, you took care of patients. But then at 8 o'clock, you had to be here in class. And I'd come dragging my little red wagon in, and Mike would go, 5 extra bonus points to find the person who took call last night, and I've got no makeup on. And so, but he was a big influence because he had been there, he was human, and the world of this little tiny brown box started to open up, and it just became like a big giant hug. You weren't a number. Your professors knew your backstory. They knew where you were doing your hours. They knew your strengths, your weaknesses, and it became just a family to me. And I thought, God, the inside of this place is not reflected by the outside of this place. And then one day I was walking past the forensics office and I heard just jocularity. They were laughing, they were carrying on, and I stuck my little head in and I said, gee, I did this in high school a little bit, and Jim Colley said, come on in, and he said, are you funny or dramatic? I said, well, I'm funny. He says, how funny? I go, super funny. So he says, well, tell me a joke. So I told him one of my best. You know, Joan knows, Morrissey, I went to town. I told the whole thing, told the whole joke. And he chuckled and he looked over those glasses and he said, I think you'll do. And there I was on the speech team and the forensics team, and Lisa and Brian are here. They were two of my teammates. We still stay in touch. Last summer we had a reunion at my house, and we just, laughed until all hours, but they're just so amazing to be here. So I went and graduated and worked in the industry for 15 years, and then I got married to the most wonderful man on the earth, and then I became extremely ill, and I have something that nobody can fix, nobody can cure, but we're just treading water. So I was not working. I was unable to really work, and had this miracle child, Molly, and when she was 15, and I used to sew. I made my white uniforms because I'm statuesque. Can you imagine trying to find little white pants to fit me? It was 7 yards of hanging down at the bottom. So I made my own pants, and then I made friends' pants, and then I made christening dresses, and then I was making first communion dresses and things like that. And I sewed my whole life. I learned in 4-H when I was 11. And so, but I never knew that I had any talent. My self-worth it was still building little by little. And so Molly said, my daughter, she's 15, she said, we're watching Project Runway, you should be on Project Runway. And I said, you should mind your own business. So being our daughter, she downloaded the application, filled it out. And I got a call back, which was funny. And then the next year, Tim Gunn said, I don't think you're ready. I said, how long have you been making women's dresses? An hour and a half. So he said, practice for a year and come back. So I came back and scooted through, and out of 14,000 people, they took 16. And they took a 50-year-old woman who never had any formal training. I kind of taught myself and did my own thing. And walking into the workroom that first day, I'm standing in front of Parsons, and they're going to let us into Parsons, and I had a flashback to standing in front of that brown box. I was scared. I was nervous. What am I doing here? I shouldn't be here. What? And I had that flashback, and I hitched up my Bermudas and said, yes, I belong here, because guess what I learned in 1978 to 1980? That there is something out there for everybody. There's a future for everybody. I always thought that my life had a big wall in front of it. And College of DuPage taught me it's not a wall, it's a door, and it's shut very tightly. And you put on that combat boot and wind up and grab your friends and your colleagues and the people that care about you by the hand, and you kick it as hard as you can. And it may only open about this much, but it's open. And how you get through and how you proceed to go through is up to you, and that's your future. And I learned here that a lot about judging something, a book by its cover, by judging this place by the exterior. Joan brought me into the fashion studies department a couple years ago and served on the board, and then I started working with the students. And most fulfilling thing I think I've ever done, besides being a wife and a mother, is working with these students and seeing that my life experience and my experience here has brought me to a place where I can help other young designers figure it out and see the light at the end of the tunnel. It is not a train. It's your future, and they have such a bright future. And the professors here, Sharon runs an amazing department. It's been such a blessing to work here and help out here, and they're so welcoming, and it all comes full circle, doesn't it? That you start somewhere where you don't know what you're doing, and you just keep reaching and reaching and reaching, and eventually you circle around and say, I kind of knew what I was doing all along, I just didn't know I knew what I was doing. So I'm just honored to be here. This has been an amazing place. What this has built up, people like Joan and the professors and the outreach people that keep building this campus. It was amazing for me to pull up and look for the brown box. This is so not a brown box, but I stand here with people who are I make clothes, but I'm happy to make my clothes and work with the students, and I hope they continue to ask me back. But I thank you and the people that nominated me, and this beautiful day, and these wonderful people that are going to be part of my circle. Thank you. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Roy Beaumont. Roy attributes many of his accomplishments and career success to attending College of DuPage. In fact, COD has been a big part of the Beaumont family, as we have heard. During his 20-year career at Marriott, Roy presently serves as Vice President of their select brands, directing strategic planning responsibilities for more than 3,000 hotels and 10 lodging brands.
Here's an example of a student who has done extremely well for himself, and you're very proud of him. Is that he's made quite a mark in the hospitality industry.
I think one of the things that has impressed me the most is obviously his knowledge of the industry, but also his connection to Glen Ellen, his family.
I was happy for Roy to study hospitality because I thought it was a great industry. I remember reminding him, you're never going to be a millionaire in the hospitality industry. However, you're going to be very happy. If you enjoy working with people, he's got it made.
Naturally, his first choice would be the College of DuPage because he had been around it all of his life and he knew the program had the reputation that it had and that he really wanted to explore his options.
Roy was a pretty inquisitive young man. He was always willing to ask questions. As a teacher, you're standing up in front of those students, and oftentimes there's a lot of blank faces. And so when you catch that one that's got a little spark in the eye, you have a tendency to gravitate toward those individuals, and Roy was one of those.
I think Roy recognizes that the seed was planted here. He knew for sure this is what he wanted to do. He gave it his all to get a good education. He was hired by the Marriott Corporation right out of Purdue. And I think that says a lot for him that he's been with them now for 20 years.
We're very excited that this is the third distinguished alumni that has come from the culinary hospitality program.
I'm very proud of my son. Since all three of them are going to see this, I'm proud of all my three sons, but particularly in a way, Roy, because we're talking about the hospitality industry at this time. I've been in the industry close to 55 years. I never had a job I didn't like, and I think Roy will say the same.
The thing I think that makes him so deserving is the fact that he's now willing to give back. That spirit of volunteerism that Roy has is admirable.
From the class of 1991, please welcome Roy Beaumont, a 2017 Distinguished Alum.
So for those of you wondering, I'm not wearing the peach car line right now, but I hope you go into mail after. So just before I get started, I just wanted to say it's nice to follow my dad and surprise him for once after all the times he surprised his kids with a little award. So congratulations, Dad. That was great for all you've done. And it truly is a multi-generational story because not only is it great to see my dad involved in the school, but this is my eldest son's first time here. And Braden woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, and he's still hanging in there. Right, Braden? Come on up here. Why don't you stand and help me out, okay? All right. This is the Braden Beaumont line. How's this, Pete? All right. He looks great. You can help me out? You just hold my hand. All right, buddy. Great. He needs caffeine, but if only he was older. But no, in all honesty, it is such a pleasure. It's been a great day, hasn't it? Just what the college has put together. I also say I'm not worthy to be up here as well and hearing all of your stories. But, you think about what community colleges are, and I think in the last 24 hours it crystallized for me. I think they are the best. I think we can get into a long political discussion about where do good tax dollars go, or where do bad tax dollars go. But I hope we'd all agree that dollar for dollar, community colleges are probably the best investment there is. And there are so many different prisms that you just see the community that is positively impacted to a doorway of new opportunities. And I just saw it all crystallize over the last day. I put a little list together of a couple of those examples. So sorry for squeezing your son, Braden. You're doing great here. So obviously it's a place, and 99% of the folks that take classes here, it's their own money. And it's their own investment. So they're investing in their education, and this school runs a very efficient and effective shop. They know those dollars are precious, and they do a phenomenal job with the facilities here. This school has an amazing magnet of teachers. It's great to be in the Chicagoland area, but the faculty here, and I agree with you, Patrick, I went to a great four-year school, but the faculty here is bar none. It's second to none. It's phenomenal. And it's great to see some of the teachers that I had here. Chef, for trying to teach me how to cook. My wife still doesn't believe I took some cooking classes. Dr. Gibson, it is so good to see you. It is so good to see you. One of my best favorite professors. Connie, I was trying to remember who I took an acting class from, and she is here, which is great. I obviously didn't make acting a professional career, but you'll never see Mr. Belushi follow Roy Beaumont again on that rolling scroll. So I hope there's never a winner that is in between our two last names, so I'm always there. And then you think about the community that is hired and that works here. My mom worked at the bookstore downstairs, and she did a great job there. And then my brothers came here. You know, my brother, Michael, who's here, he's probably the tallest guy in the room, and he wanted to continue that dream to be an NBA player. And so he played here he was a Chaparral player. Michael, you took the most offensive fouls anyone's ever taken in the career here. And he continued that to Carroll College. But, you know, the bigger picture of that is this school has everything for everyone, if you want to do that. And, you know, for myself, and I think for many others, I thought that the opportunity here was the most affordable way to a bachelor's or higher education. As much as I tried to convince or do a sales job with my parents to go to a four-year school right out of high school, the answer was, hey, you get the scholarship, we'll pack your bags for you. And that big scholarship never came. I don't think I had the athletics that others did or anything else. But what a great deal. I mean, you come here, I worked obviously in the business, so I knew that what I was learning from the theory side, I could apply it immediately. Some of those photos you saw were at the Oak Brook Hills Hotel down the road. No, I didn't work all those positions on one day. That was my last day. I had to take a picture in every position. But I worked in every department of the hotel. So I think like any other degree here or any other course track you want to take, you know, the most important thing is this for you? And the best way to do it is to get right in the industry. Figure it out. Because if it's not, it's never too late to change your career. Or what you what your passion is, as we've heard today, and that even applies very close to home. My lovely wife, who's at home watching our other two boys, your other younger brothers. You think they're sleeping now? Yeah, they are. She changed her career after watching our boys for a couple of years, and took a couple classes at the local community college to be a pre-K teacher, and it's again, dollar for dollar, the best ROI that your communities can invest in. And then the last kind of story, and it goes full circle from where I am with Marriott for 20 years, but and I know all of you are card-carrying members of Marriott Rewards and no other brands. All right, but our founder, J. Willard Marriott, he about a century ago, he was a sheep herder for his family. The family had no money in Utah. He came back from his Mormon mission. He had a 6th grade education, but a lot of drive, a lot of persistence. And he had a mentor in the community who taught at a community college, Weber, which is now Weber State, a four-year school. But that person saw something in J. Willard Marriott and said, you know, I'm going to sponsor you to come to Weber Community College. And he obviously was very successful. 2 years later, he went to Utah, got a 4-year degree, met his wife, drove cross country in Model T. I don't know how he did it. Got an A&W root beer license. And 90 years later, fortunate to work for the largest hotel company in the world. But, you know, his foundation was from community colleges. So with that, one other last thing, I also just want to thank all those that put this together and played a key role. So obviously, I'm very loyal to my program, and Mary Beth, thanks for all your help in doing this, and for friends and family for coming. So thank you very much. Thank you, Braden.
Dilys Gallio. As a critical care nurse, Dilys considered it an honor to help patients navigate life's greatest challenges. As an educator, the COD nursing professor inspires, mentors, and encourages her students to learn, grow, and truly embrace the art of nursing. In fact, at COD, Dillis has been named as Outstanding Advisor and Outstanding Faculty Member. Phyllis is currently in the doctoral program at Benedictine University, which focuses on leadership and values, and spent this summer on sabbatical in Zambia, teaching community health workers assessment skills to promote health in their community.
One of the things I love most about Dillis is that she's the best of both worlds. She's one of the most loving, caring, compassionate people on the planet. And at the same time, she is a hard-nosed, evidence-based, results-oriented scientist.
I first got to know Dillis when she was hired as a nursing instructor here at College of DuPage. She came to us well prepared. She had a strong nursing background. But another characteristic that was soon to be revealed was her commitment to students. She cared about them. She was compassionate. She would go the extra mile over and over for these students.
I met Dillis when she embarked on her PhD journey in values-driven leadership at Benedictine University. She was a student that immediately stood out in every different positive way a student can stand out. And I've had the luxury of not only getting a chance to serve alongside her with her cohort members, to be her instructor, to learn from her, to grow from her, to be the recipient of the generosity that she just humbly displays and gives to all, that there's been a special relationship from day one.
Dillis's dissertation topic is the nature of high-quality relationships between students and instructors that support student success and career success for people in nursing programs. That's a great example of her care for people and her care for performance.
She's gone to Africa to help a particular population there.
And she went to help give medical attention to folks in Zambia. But she worked with a bunch of medical professionals in the area. And her first move was not to go out thinking that she knew everything and begin to help people. Her first move was to enter into relationship with the health providers there, get to know them, visit them in their clinics, visit them in their homes, and say, how can I help you?
So out there in our nursing world now, out in DuPage County and on, are all these students who were guided and cared about by Dillis. And they remember her.
From the class of 1989, please welcome Dillis Gallio, a 2017 Distinguished Alum.
This is an amazing group to be with. I am so grateful. I am so humbled and so blessed. Not too bad for a kid from India who had polio. My parents were told that I would never walk. So I lead a blessed life. With that, there is something that I want you to understand about a noble purpose. I'm sorry, I'm not going to read a book, promise, although my dissertation chair would love that. I found a liturgy about scholars and students. Use my studies to further shape my vision of what my place and call in this world might be. Begin to show me where my own deep gladness and the world's deep need might meet. And in that light, let me be mindful, not only of my studies, but also mindful of the needs of my peers and even of my teachers. Let me respond with mercy to the failings of others. Let me be in this school, even in small ways, the bearer of love and the light and reconciliation, which is to say, let me be in humility, let me be your child God. All right. With tonight, what I want to tell you is that the most influential people in my life who came at whatever times they did were like angels. They were my teachers. Going way back, my teacher, Tom Lindblade, with the book People Making from Virginia Satir. The fact that I still remember that name, Tom, is pretty amazing. As an educator, Tom saw in me things that I couldn't. He stood by while I searched for what I wanted to be with my life and what I wanted to do. His letter of recommendation brought tears to my eyes. The trajectory of my life changed due to his loving kindness and support. Not only was I able to walk, Tom gave me wings. When I started to teach here at this college, because it's come full circle, daily I used to pass a picture of him helping a student paddle a canoe. It inspired me daily. His example of being a kind yet firm instructor inspires me. Marilyn Johnston, my nursing instructor, mentor, friend, and partner in crime, and she knows what that means. Wow, we used to get into trouble. What a gentle soul. She gave me the example of a mentor, teacher, friend, and healer. There was laughter through tears and much joy. Ellen Dable, who actually hired me to be a teacher here. What's really kind of interesting is that Ellen was on vacation in Indiana and I was on vacation in Maui. And she called and said, Dilys, could you possibly teach for us? Knowing that Ellen was really strapped for an educator, I said, oh, what the heck, sure. And that actually changed the course of my life because I have loved all of my nursing students. On to more thank yous. James Gustafson. His class on authentic leadership was a watershed for me. I made radical changes to my life to live authentic and a congruent life. He is one of the most compassionate, loving individuals I have been blessed with. Thank you for your care, your nurturing, your support, and oh my gosh, how many prayers have we had for each other? While I was in Africa, Gus coached me, supported me with his kind words and his affirmation, because you see, when you're caring for so many people, you can get overwhelmed. His friendship and love has taught me what makes a heart beat. And last but not least, Jim Ludma. How could I have known that I would meet one of the most influential people of my life during an interview in October 2014? You see, I found out at the last minute there was going to be changes to who interviewed me, and that caused me to change which shoes that I was going to wear. Flats, be very boring, and go in. His vision for creating a positive, value-driven, his vision for creating positive, values-driven leaders is actually infectious and inspiring. I lean on his never-ending support and encouragement. He would check in with me to see how I was during some very dark days, and my answer was, upright. This was during some of the most tempestuous times in my life. He gave me a safe harbor. What an amazing example of loving kindness and strength. Whereas Tom helped me by giving me wings, Jim's helping me to fly or to take flight. I'm forever in your debt, and yes, I'm working on my dissertation. All of these individuals bring their best, share their passion to help people become, they see more, care more, and love more. I have been so blessed to have them in my life. It is my sincere hope that I could lead with their example. By the way, I would be remiss to not mention Judy Carino, my baby sister. There are no words to describe the bond between us, sort of a soul sister. She has looked out, watched over, loved, and cheered me on. If everybody had a person like Judy Carino in their life, we would all be unstoppable. When I have been out of the country and not available, I want to say thank you to her husband and her children, because he steps in and calls her Juju, and will text her as though he's me. All in all, in sincere humility, if it wasn't for my God, I wouldn't be upright and I wouldn't be here. Thank you. He's the source of my strength and hope. I'm so blessed to have the noble purpose of teaching, and I am so thankful for every life that's brought into my circle of tiny influence, because you see, these students, they're out there being healers, and nothing could be better than that. Thank you.
Tom Kriegelstein, the entrepreneur and internationally known keynote speaker and facilitator, feels at home at COD. His parents were both professors, and where Kriegelstein was honored as a Phi Theta Kappa All-USA first team member, an Illinois Centennial Scholar, and an outstanding graduate. Through his company, Swift Kick, Kriegelstein trains college and corporate leaders on how to build a culture of connection within their organization and team, a subject he was passionate about during his time here as a student and still is today.
The thing that sets Tom apart from most other speakers is it's his sincerity. He's doing this to have a positive impact. And that sort of spirit comes through his speaking, and you can see the students connecting with that kind of energy.
Not only is he a great public speaker, but he's just a great person in general.
Besides his passion for helping students, he has this passion for justice and equality in the world, and he just wants to keep putting that message out there. We all give kudos, as he does, to Chuck Steele. That Chuck kind of dragged him kicking and screaming into student activities, and the rest is history.
I first connected with Tom when I had first started in student activities, and together we worked to basically reinvigorate the student organization. I knew it would take a charismatic student to connect with other students, and Tom was just that. One of the things Tom did was he knew what the organization needed, and he went out and recruited students that were perfect for program board, that were motivated to be a part of program board and contribute to its success, because the students that he recruited then recruited other students who had the same mindset.
In his success, he has not lost his connection to his roots.
Having that extra little bit of his connection to College of DuPage makes every time he's on campus speaking to our students that little bit more special.
He knows how to connect with us, and when someone has that, it kind of captures your attention, and you become more active in like the activities that he has, and you become attached and more interested.
One of the things that has always been a theme in his speaking career has been free hugs. He has signs made up, he gives them out to students, and students will offer strangers free hugs as a way of connection and a feeling of community. And he thought it would be fun to try to set the Guinness Book of World Records for the number of hugs. And when he thought about doing that, he thought, what better place to do it than at College of DuPage?
What's exciting though is that
it started off small, but then it rippled into something huge, and eventually we got over 100 students, and it was just really like fun and amazing to see him being so happy that he got all these students to participate in the one thing that he loves.
One thing that comes through talking to Tom is the importance of his family that's had on him personally and professionally. Both his parents worked at College of DuPage. They were both professors here.
We're proud that he is continuing the whole tradition of the Kriegelstein family of educating other people. He has not lost his determination to not only work with what's right in front of him, with the students he's working with at a specific time, but to look at the larger picture and how he can make an impact in the larger community.
From the class of 2001, please welcome Tom Kriegelstein, a 2017 Distinguished Alum.
Wow. So the first thing you should know is that my speeches and trainings are normally 8 hours long. So when they said this should be 2 to 3 minutes long, I was like, is that the introduction? Because I need a little more time. So I was here at College of DuPage in 1999, and I had this memory. I bought these pair of sneakers that I used from money that I worked for at the bookstore in the downstairs where I was working, and or the ticket office. Sorry. And these sneakers, when I first put them on, I walked through the hallways of COD without carpet. They made a squeaking noise. And I refused to return them because I was committed. I'm not a quitter. And so I remember I would just like walk down the hallway and it would go squeak, 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 squeak the whole time. So why am I telling you that? Well, today, as we were walking around the hallways today, a student walked past me and his shoes were going squeak, 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 squeak. And I had this sort of like Back to the Future moment where I wanted to turn around and be like, yo, your future's gonna be okay. Like, that's what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to say in that moment. Because then another thing happened today where I was giving a training over at Student Life, and a student came up to me afterwards, and I'm sorry, I have to lift this up a little bit. I'm a slight bit taller. You're tall, I'm just taller. Okay, we got this. We're all good here. Squeak, squeak, squeak. And so, all right, so this student came up afterwards, and the student went to me and said, I want to be a professional speaker. And then I had this instant flashback in my mind to when I was a student at a program where it was a speaker came in, and his name was Patrick Combs, and he stood up front. And I was so enthralled by what he did and how he was able to move this audience from this space to this space and have this outcome and have such a positive impact on these students that I went up to him afterwards and I said, I want to be a professional speaker. And I thought in that moment today, when the squeaking happened, and then when she walked up to me afterwards, that's the circle. That's the circle that we stumbled over in the words earlier, this multi-generational concept. But that's what, to me, education's about. This idea that I come to a space like this, not knowing who I am. The group around me helps me discover who I am. Then they help me discover what I want to do in this world. Then they help me figure out how to make a career out of it. And then I come back and help those same people. And here I was today walking down the hallways going, holy crap, I'm doing that, and it's happening right now. Now, here's the thing though, if that were it, that would be amazing. But the problem is that's not it, because I do a lot of professional speeches all over the world now. I've gotten to speak in front of small groups and large groups, and I was just down in Dallas working for an organization, a company down there that's worth $500 million. And I know some of you are looking at me debating if I'm 12 years old or 14 years old. And believe me, every single executive in that audience was thinking the same thing, because in the audience, in the front row, was the CEO, the CFO, and the COO, who all just got up before me, and they got to speak for 10 minutes each. And then I was the guest keynote speaker, and I was supposed to walk on stage in front of people who were at least double my age and deliver a message that they felt like was worth their time. And in that moment, right before I stepped on stage, I thought to myself, and that negative voice popped in my head and said, why are they going to listen to you? And I had such imposter syndrome in that moment. And in that moment, I really had to work hard to push that voice out of my head. And that voice, unfortunately, I wish it was some voice that would never show up ever again, but it seems like it constantly keeps coming back. Every single time I push myself out into a vulnerable space where I'm about to do something that could potentially hurt me. And that voice pops in. And I've realized throughout the process that it's not about me trying to get rid of that voice, it's about me trying to depower that voice. And what was interesting today is as I was walking with this group and hearing all their stories, I had the exact same thing. I'm like, the imposter syndrome popped back in my head. And I'm like, look at these distinguished alumni, and here I am. How do I and why do I get to be on here? And the voice popped back in my head. And the reason I feel like I'm standing here today and able to continue to push past that voice every single time I have an opportunity to work with groups or speak in front of groups is because of the people around me and the people who got me from where I'm at in the past to where I'm at now. I graduated high school with a C, stellar C grade point average, hold the applause. All of my friends went to amazing colleges, and I stumbled into the brown box here at COD. It was a little more in a brown box at this time, but it was not what it is now. And I stumbled into student life. And Chuck Steele, I was his first hire and clearly his best hire ever, humbly speaking. And Chuck saw, and I should say, Chuck is by far easily the fourth favorite person for me here at COD. So I just wanted to, can we just quickly acknowledge him as my fourth favorite person? So Chuck, some people will get up here and say mentor, and I have a different word, and some of you probably have heard this before, but Chuck to me was a sponsor. And the difference to me between a mentor and a sponsor is a mentor is going to give advice and suggestions on where the person should go, and a sponsor opens up that door for that person. And for me, Chuck saw something in me that I didn't see it myself at the time, and he gave me the advice like a mentor should, but then he turned around and opened up the door, and I had to walk through it. And every time he saw me walk through it and show up in a better version of myself after that, whatever challenge it was, then he turned right back around and gave me another piece of advice, another challenge, and he just kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. And it truly was, I am a product, everything that my success is now is a product of the co-curricular space here at College of DuPage. I love my classroom experience, my teachers were amazing, and I'm gonna add to it, what really set me apart in terms of my life was the co-curricular, everything that happened outside the classroom, in the informal learning spaces here on campus, when I hung around the teachers' offices afterwards, or I hung around with Chuck in student life, or I went to student activities events throughout campus. And so Chuck for me is one of those sponsors that showed up, and he continues to show up throughout my life. And then the other thing is I feel like I won the parent lottery. Yeah, well, let's hold for the applause. First, let me say what I'm going to say, and then we'll get the acknowledgement. Because when we walked in this room, I showed up a little bit later than my parents, and my parents had this huge crowd around them. And honest to goodness, they are COD royalty, my parents. So can we just quickly acknowledge my mom and my dad who are over here? I won the parent lottery with them. And I'm going to extend that because I noticed that my godparents are here as well. And my godparents, I know that with age, unfortunately, sometimes health challenges show up. And seeing them here and seeing them walk in just means so much. So, thank you. And so that's my introduction. Now, you thought you were gonna get me out. And so I just, my final thoughts here are thank you. And I love what I get to do in the world, and I truly appreciate everything that I've gained from College of DuPage to be where I'm at in this world, in the work I continue to do. And so I acknowledge all those here at COD who helped me, and especially my family who continue to support me throughout all of it. So thank you so much, appreciate it.
Our recent Alumni Award winner, Marcella Yorgeli. She earned her doctorate in physics from Harvard University in 2015. One of many academic achievements, Yorgeli became the first and only COD student to receive the prestigious Barry Goldwater Scholarship, and only the second COD student to be chosen for the USA Today All USA Academic First Team. She holds 6 U.S. patents and has authored many publications, including 7 in selective peer-reviewed journals.
Marcella deserves so much credit for being who she is, for overcoming tremendous odds, for succeeding remarkably in a very challenging discipline and as a woman in science.
Marcella was an outstanding student. She's an outstanding human being. She's an outstanding scientist. And she would have succeeded no matter where you put her.
Early on, we knew Marcella had tremendous potential and enormous intellectual gifts and academic acumen, and she certainly proved that right. That first impression has come out to be astonishingly on target. She acquired many honors here at College of DuPage. Probably the most prestigious was the Barium Goldwater Scholarship, which is a national honor, one of the most prestigious scholarships in the United States. She also won a National Science Foundation grant for some research when she was an undergraduate. This is very rare. And to have an undergraduate at a community college do this is rarer still. She participated in many rigorous academic courses, the honors courses. Marcella, I think from the outset, showed a passion for learning.
She's got connections in the particle research world. She's had an internship in particle research. My assumption was that's what she would do her PhD, and then Marcella sort of said no. She got into biophysics. But I sort of think it says, again, something about Marcella.
And I think that is the most attractive thing to a teacher, just as she's getting to know a student, is a sense of that passion for learning.
I think it speaks highly of Marcella that very early in her career, she has this long list of credentials. I would certainly say in my time here at COD, I've seen a long list of outstanding female science and engineering students, Marcella being amongst the top.
Marcella was a wonderful role model for young women in science, and I'm sure she's continued to be that role model and an inspiration to other young women. It's so important that we have this education and that we have people like Marcella to show us how it can be done.
From the class of 2005, please welcome Marcella Yorguli, a 2017 Distinguished Alum.
Oh boy, do I really have to talk? Can I write an equation somewhere and explain that? That would be much easier. All right, thank you many times. I cannot thank enough everyone around me. I want to say that the biggest lesson and the very everyday lesson that I have learned and used, even today, yesterday, it was from here, from COD. And that lesson is that everything is possible. Anything in any environment, in any resources is possible. And by any resources, I mean what you see first. Many things are hidden. Many things is not up, a lot of things are not up front. We just have to search for those. And the reason that I now believe and that the reason that I learned this lesson here at COD was because when I joined here, there was a big, big disappointment those first couple of weeks. And I learned that lesson because of many mentors. And you heard from Dr. Carter, but what he said for me is only 1% of what I think of him. He has been my mentor throughout my career. Even nowadays, we talk to each other, we chat, both for professional, academic, and even personal discussions throughout it. So thank you. Thank you for everything, and I'll thank you more, believe me, throughout. Oh, and when I saw Allison Moore, Miss Moore, like today, I was like, oh my God. She made me remember of like hours and hours that I would sit just next to her. I would bring at her office a printout, and we'd just sit and discuss and chat, and like going from a sentence to like a long discussion about everything and anything. I don't know how you were able to listen to me and how you were able to stay there for even longer than hours together and answer all my questions. I have so many friends, relatives, family that get bored with my questions, because even today I haven't minimized those, but thank you for everything. So in terms of mentors, professionally, socially, in the academic lives, you have been the main ones. But I feel that mentors throughout my life, from then till now, before then, have been my family. My parents, my brother, my best friend, which is my husband, but still not used to call him a husband. He's still my best friend. They have been by my side the entire time. Dr. Carter made it possible for me to go as a freshman, the very first semester here at COD, to a NASA-sponsored conference out in Texas. My stop was in Houston, in a connection. I had been in the US less than 6 months. I lost my second connection flight to Brownsville. I had no idea where Brownsville was. And back then in the day, there weren't any cell phones. At the airport, there were only those pay by coin, whatever those phones are called, right? However, I called my dad, and it was my dad that made me connect with a relative that had internet, that could log in into my email and call the people out in Brownsville and make sure that I made it to the next flight, because I didn't know that I could make it to another flight. I lost it. I was like, oh boy, I'm in Houston. What I'm doing here? But I made it out in Brownsville, and from then, things moved forward much more easily. But other than that, and this was, I can tell many, many, many stories, but everything was made possible because of my parents. Oh, and my brother, he still today corrects my accent, and I have a strong one, I know, but he helps me, and he has helped me in everything. Every time that I feel down, somehow he knows how to make me happy and have a big smile. While my closest friend, for many times, from the very first year that I had been here in the US, he never bothered to wonder why I was doing something, or why he had to pick me up in the lab at 4 a.m. Oh yeah, he wondered when sometimes he had to sit next to me in the lab, why did I have to wait for a little pump in the screen? He's like, can I move the mouse up and down so that I see a signal out there in the data that you're trying to record? However, he didn't do that. He waited until we saw that little signal, which allowed me to eventually graduate. So yes, anything is possible, but that's because we want it. Everyone has to want it, but in parallel, it's everyone surrounding us. And the community here at COD, while I was at COD, a lot of things happened. I had a chance to learn a lot here, go out at Columbia University, do some research at Fermilab, go talk to people at Argonne, go present a poster at Argonne, so on and so forth. So, as I said, it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you want something, as long as you identify the path to follow. And there might be many zigzags and many doors closed, but as long as you follow what you want and you find the mentors that you need around you, everything and anything is possible. So thank you. Thank you.
So, one more round of applause for all of our 2017 Distinguished Alumni. What an amazing group of achievers, and what they've brought such distinction to what it means to be an alumni at College of DuPage.
You know, Amelia, I think the one thing that affected me the most this evening, because every year, you know, we always take a couple seconds and talk about this, is that I'm blessed and I'm so lucky to be able to work somewhere that starts people's lives in such a wonderful, positive direction. So, I mean, it's wonderful as a teacher to hear this. So thank you. Thank you.
And I am struck that what Tom talked about with 100 hugs, that's what we're getting back right now. And everybody that we touch, how they touch 100 other people. And that's just an amazing thing to do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for being here and being a part of this very special evening, honoring, recognizing, and celebrating our alumni. A scholarship has been established in honor of the Distinguished Alumni Program and will go to a current student aspiring to do great things. More information on how to give is located in your program book and is available outside of the reception room. Finally, do you know any alumni that should be on this stage next year? Our 2018 Distinguished Alumni nominations are open. Please visit alumni.cod.edu to nominate a deserving alum to join this illustrious group next year. Thank you, good night, be safe, be well, and be connected.